The ballroom was too bright. Crystal chandeliers, white tablecloths, the kind of place where silverware costs more than my grocery budget. I stood at the back, hands shaking, USB drive burning a hole in my pocket. On stage, Marlo Sutton smiled like she owned the world. Designer dress, perfect hair, microphone in hand. "This scholarship changed my life," she said, voice dripping with rehearsed gratitude. "It represents not just financial support, but validation of hard work, dedication, and intellectual integrity." Intellectual integrity. My vision tunneled. The room tilted. Because 18 months ago, Marlo Sutton stole my research, copied every word, every citation, every breakthrough I'd spent 2 years developing. She submitted it under her name, won $50,000, and watched me drop out of college because I couldn't afford tuition. And now she was giving a speech about integrity. I pulled the USB drive from my pocket, felt its weight. Time-stamped drafts, email chains, witness statements, irrefutable proof. The foundation director sat 3 tables away, scanning the crowd with polite disinterest. Marlo continued, "This scholarship changed my life." I started walking. But I'm getting ahead of myself. You need to understand how perfect she made it look, how completely she got away with it, how long I believed I was powerless. How long have I been a fool? So I'm telling you instead. Sophomore year, Bartley University. I'd worked 3 jobs to get there. A state school 40 minutes from where I grew up. The kind of place where scholarship kids and trust fund kids shared dorms but lived in different universes. Marlo was randomly assigned as my roommate. On the first day, she arrived with her parents, a moving crew, and enough furniture to stock an apartment. Her father owned something vague in venture capital. Her mother wore sunglasses indoors. They smiled politely at my milk crate nightstand and said nothing. But Marlo was kind. Genuinely, unexpectedly kind. She asked about my life, remembered details. When I mentioned working late shifts at the campus library, she leaves snacks on my desk. When I got sick during midterms, she brought soup from the expensive place downtown. "We're in this together," she'd say, laughing as we crammed for exams at 2 a.m. Roommate solidarity. We'd stay up late talking about our dreams. She wanted to work in environmental policy, change the world, she said. I wanted to finish my degree without drowning in debt. She never made me feel small for that. The memory that hurts most. Spring break junior year. I couldn't afford to go home. Marlo canceled her Cabo trip and stayed with me instead. We binge-watched documentaries, ate cheap pizza, and she told me about her parents' divorce, how money couldn't fix everything. I thought I knew her. Junior year, I started my research project, analyzing regional water contamination patterns using machine learning algorithms. It was ambitious, obsessive. I spent months collecting data, building models, cross-referencing EPA violations with county health records. Marlo would study across from me, occasionally asking questions. What's that data set? How does the algorithm weigh variables? I explained everything, proud that someone was interested. She even helped once, pulling an all-nighter to format citations when my laptop crashed. But there were cracks I didn't see. Like how she started angling her laptop away when I entered the room. Or the text she read one night. She read it, face flushing, then deleted it before I could glimpse the screen. "Just my mom," she said. Then the late nights at the library. She'd come back at 2 a.m. smelling like expensive hotel soap and chlorine, the kind from the resort gym across town where her family had a membership. I didn't question it. Why would I? The Kensington Foundation grant was announced in February. $50,000 for undergraduate research in environmental science. Enough to cover my remaining tuition, eliminate my loans, maybe even afford graduate school. I spent 4 months perfecting my submission. Every graph, every conclusion, every footnote. Marlo watched me work, brought coffee, said it looked amazing. I submitted on April 15th. Deadline, April 30th. On May 3rd, I got the rejection email. We regret to inform you that your application was not selected. Competition was exceptionally high this year. I stared at it for 20 minutes, numb. All that work, all that hope. Marlo hugged me, said she was sorry, and ordered Thai food to cheer me up. On May 5th, the foundation announced the winner, Marlo Sutton, for research on regional water contamination using machine learning algorithms. I didn't believe it at first. Coincidence, maybe? Similar topics. Environmental science was broad. Then I saw her submission posted online, a teaser abstract on LinkedIn, humble bragging, thanking mentors. I read the first paragraph and my hands went numb. It was mine, word for word. My introduction, my thesis statement, my phrasing. I pulled up my submission. I compared them side by side. Identical. The next 3 weeks dissolved into paranoia. I stopped sleeping, lay awake replaying every conversation, every time she'd asked about my research, every time she'd watched me work. I checked her social media obsessively, found a photo from 2 weeks before the deadline, her at some conference I'd never heard of, standing next to a Kensington Foundation board member. Caption, inspiring conversations about the future of environmental research. I reread every text message, found the gaps, the nights she said she was at the library but her location showed downtown. Our mutual friend Tegan started acting weird, avoiding eye contact. When I mentioned the scholarship, she changed the subject fast. Then I found the receipt. Crumpled in the trash. Professional formatting services. $300. Dated April 28th, 2 days before the deadline. Why would she need formatting services?
I confronted her in our dorm room. Calm, direct. Did you submit research on water contamination? She didn't even flinch. Yeah, I've been working on a similar project. Isn't that crazy? We must think alike. Marlo, I read your abstract. It's identical to mine. That's impossible. I wrote mine from scratch. Show me your draft. I don't need to prove anything to you. Her voice was so steady, so reasonable, like I was the crazy one. I pushed harder. She pushed back. You're upset you didn't win. I get it. But accusing me of plagiarism? That's beneath you. 3 days later, I found the proof by accident. Her laptop was open. She was in the shower. I wasn't snooping. I was looking for my charger. But I saw the folder. Kensington Final. I opened it. My research. Every file. Every draft. Time-stamped weeks before the deadline. Renamed with her name. The room spun. My ears rang. I couldn't breathe. She'd copied everything. Meticulously. Methodically. While I slept 10 feet away. I waited until she came back. Showed her the screen. You stole my work. She stared at me. Then she smiled. Not apologetic. not guilty. Amused. "Prove it," she said. "You think anyone's going to believe you over me? My family donates to this school. My father knows people on the foundation board. You're a financial aid kid with a victim complex." She stepped closer. "Besides, you already submitted. They rejected you. Maybe your work just wasn't good enough." I moved out that night, crashed on Tegan's floor, borrowed money I didn't have for a lawyer consultation. The lawyer was blunt. You'd need time-stamped proof, witnesses, and about $20,000 you don't have. Even then, it's your word against hers. She submitted later. Her work is on record. Yours isn't. I dropped out 2 weeks later. Couldn't afford tuition. Couldn't afford to fight. The lowest moment came 3 months later. Midnight. I was walking past the campus research center, the building where I'd spent hundreds of hours on that project. Through the window, I saw them installing a plaque. Kensington Foundation Scholar, Marlo Sutton. I sat on the curb and cried until campus security asked me to leave. The first 2 weeks were survival. I worked double shifts at a coffee shop, slept on Tegan's couch, ate ramen, cried in the bathroom during breaks. But I also started documenting everything. I pulled my drafts from cloud storage, checked the timestamps, found emails I'd sent to my advisor with early versions of my research months before Marlo submitted. I contacted my old lab partner. She remembered Marlo asking suspicious questions. She agreed to write a statement. 1 month in, I had a file. Not enough to win in court, but enough to prove something. 2 months in, I started therapy. My therapist asked what I wanted. I want her to lose what she stole. And then what? I didn't have an answer. I removed Marlo from my phone contacts, unfollowed her on everything, donated the sweater she had given me for Christmas. 3 months in, I laughed for the first time. Really laughed. Tegan made a stupid joke about our terrible manager, and I doubled over, gasping. It felt foreign. Good. I started taking a coding class online, something Marlo once mocked as too technical, not conceptual enough. I loved it. I reconnected with old friends, went to trivia night, let myself be seen. 6 months in, something shifted. I stopped trying to be small, stopped apologizing for taking up space, stopped trying to be enough for people who'd already decided I wasn't. I met someone new at the coffee shop, Finn. He'd order the same drink every morning, eventually asking if I wanted to grab dinner. I almost said no, but something in the way he asked, no pressure, just curiosity, felt safe. On our third date, I told him about Marlo. He didn't try to fix it, just listened. Believe me, you're going to finish your degree. I don't know how yet, but you will. I wasn't looking for revenge. I was just trying to survive. But the universe has a sense of timing. 14 months after Marlo won the scholarship, Tegan sent me a screenshot. Marlo's engagement was off. Comments full of cryptic drama. Someone wrote, "Guess money can't buy loyalty." 2 weeks later, another screenshot. Marlo had been asked to step down from her research assistant position. No details. Just gone. Then the social media fight started. Public arguments with former friends, passive-aggressive posts about fake people. I ran into an old classmate at the grocery store. She grabbed my arm. "Have you seen Marlo lately? She looks rough." I felt nothing. Or maybe I felt something too complicated to name. Then, in month 16, the DM came. "Marlo Sutton, we need to talk." She wanted to meet at the campus research center, the building with her plaque. I almost said no, but Finn squeezed my hand. "You got this." She was waiting outside, and I barely recognized her. The designer clothes were gone, replaced by wrinkled jeans and an oversized hoodie. Her hair was unwashed, pulled into a messy bun. Dark circles carved shadows under her eyes. She looked like I had 18 months ago. We sat on a bench, didn't speak for a full minute. Finally, "I need your help." I laughed. Couldn't help it. "You need my help?" "The foundation is investigating me. Someone sent them evidence, timestamps, emails. They're saying I committed fraud." "Did you?" Her jaw tightened. "It's more complicated than that." "It's really not." She tried a different approach. Tears now. "Look, I know things got messy, but we were friends once. You understand pressure, expectations. My parents—" "Don't. I made a mistake. You stole 2 years of my life. You watched me drop out. You gave speeches about integrity while I worked 60-hour weeks just to survive. I didn't think— You didn't think I mattered." Silence. She shifted tactics again. Tears now. "They're going to take everything. The scholarship, my degree. I'll lose my grad school acceptance. Please, tell them it was a misunderstanding, that we collaborated. I'll pay you back." "You can't pay me back. I'll split the money." "I don't want your money." She stared at me, desperate, finally seeing me as a person instead of an obstacle. "Then what do you want?" I stood up. Finn was waiting by the parking lot, leaning against his car. "I want you to tell the truth," I said. "But I don't need you to." I walked away. She called after me, voice breaking. "Please, I'll do anything." I didn't look back. Finn opened the car door. I slid in. He started the engine. "How do you feel?" he asked. "Free." We drove off as the sun set behind the campus buildings, turning everything gold. 3 weeks later, the foundation contacted me. Marlowe had confessed. I returned the money. They were reopening my application. 4 weeks after that, I got the call. I won the scholarship. $50,000. Enough to re-enroll, finish my degree, start my life again. I didn't celebrate loudly. I just sat in my apartment, staring at the acceptance letter, and felt something settle in my chest. That night, I slept through until morning. No nightmares, no 3 a.m. panic. Just sleep. Small things started feeling possible again. Coffee tasted better. I took a different route to work and noticed flowers I'd never seen. I started running in the mornings, not to punish myself, just to move. I finished my degree that spring. I walked across the stage. Finn was in the audience, cheering too loud. One afternoon, I found an old photo of Marlowe and I on my laptop. Taken during spring break, both of us laughing, wearing matching sweatshirts. I looked at it for a long time, then closed it. Didn't delete it, just closed it. She's a completed chapter now. Footnote in my story, not the thesis. If you've ever felt like you weren't enough, like someone took something you couldn't get back, I need you to know this. You will survive the unraveling. You will rebuild. And one day, you'll realize the person who tried to erase you only proved how much you matter. The truth doesn't need permission to exist. It just needs time.